Election headquarters. Here's Fred Childers with This Week in Louisiana Politics.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Fred Childers. Thanks for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics on your local election headquarters. Well, the push for a constitutional convention before the fall election is not over yet. A Republican mega donor and Governor Jeff Landry ally is making a pitch to lawmakers on a framework for constitutional changes. Capitol reporter Shannon Hecht brings us insight into what could be on the table.
While time is running low for the legislature to pass changes to the state constitution in order to get it in front of voters this November, allies to Governor Jeff Landry are not giving up the fight. Republican mega donor Lane Grigsby chaired the transition committee focused on the Constitution. He echoes a message from the governor saying that some funds, tax exemptions, and agencies should be taken out of the Constitution and put into policy so lawmakers can make changes without having to put it to a vote of the people.
Policy should not be in the Constitution. Everybody wants to leave their portion in the Constitution.
Grigsby sent out a draft of the proposed changes for the Constitution that included altering how funding for K-12 schools is calculated, leaving the homestead exemption up to the locals, and opening up civil service to changes in order to help lawmakers face the looming budget shortfall.
9 out of every $10 in our $50 billion state budget is already pre-spent before the legislatures walk into the building.
There are already talks from the Revenue Secretary about finding ways to do away with the income tax.
You don't always have to replace a revenue stream if you can cut cost. So we have a budget that's basically started over every year. This is what I got last year. How much can I get this year?
Lawmakers would have to call themselves back into session to set up the rules for a convention, and they'd have to wrap up their work by the end of August to get it on the fall ballot. For your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
This week was the Republican National Convention. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, one of many Republicans making the trip to see the official presidential nomination for his party. The governor took time to sit down for an interview to discuss the state's controversial Ten Commandments bill. It requires public schools in Louisiana to have the commandments displayed in every classroom. Landry says former President Trump's would-be assassin might not have picked up the gun if the law had been in place when he was in school.
I mean, we take the Ten Commandments. I didn't know it was a bad way to live your life. In fact, I would submit that maybe if the Ten Commandments were hanging on Clark Cooper's wall in the school that he was in, maybe he wouldn't have took a shot at the president. Huh? How about that?
Okay, well, that law is already being challenged in court, to which Landry says the court costs are worth it to try to change Supreme Court precedents. And that new law, the new Ten Commandments law, has been put on hold for a few months. This pause comes after a group of parents filed a federal lawsuit against the state last month. On Wednesday, the state and the plaintiffs met for a status conference where both parties agreed the new law would not be implemented until November 15th. That gives the court time for the necessary hearings. We'll continue to follow the case and bring you all the latest. This week, candidates for state and federal offices signed up to officially qualify for those races. As for the congressional seats, we're keeping an eye on Louisiana's 6th congressional district. That's the one that was redrawn to create a second majority black district. Shannon Hecht has details.
One of the major races that we're tracking this election season is the 6th congressional district that does not have an incumbent since Congressman Garrett Graves is not running for re-election. So all of the candidates who signed up today will be starting off on the same foot. 3 candidates have gotten into the race for the newly drawn 6th congressional district. An early candidate is State Senator Cleo Fields, who served in Congress in the mid-90s.
I've operated and have worked with governors who were Democrats, who were Republicans. What's important is I deliver for the people of the district.
Fields has been a leader in the legislature from a young age and has a major voter mobilization effort. Another Democrat is running a grassroots campaign against Fields. Quentin Anthony Anderson worked for a criminal justice nonprofit in Baton Rouge, and he comes as the anti-establishment candidate and suggests that Fields is a crook.
He's one of the top abstaining senators in the legislature. And I think that that's a reflection of, when you see an issue that you don't feel comfortable with or you don't want to, risk some political capital, you don't go to the mat. And I'm not going to be that kind of representative.
On the right, Elbert Guillory, a former state senator, is running on the Republican ticket. Guillory is campaigning on border security and curbing government spending. He believes the district is an illegal gerrymander, but wants to help Republicans keep hold of the House.
In 2 years, a lot of damage can be done. It needs to stop. It needs to be stopped very quickly.
Guillory has the official endorsement from the Louisiana GOP.
On the second day of qualifying for candidates to get their names on the ballot, Congresswoman Julia Letlow left the Republican National Convention early to speak to the public here. Letlow is challenged with a newly drawn district that has roughly 40% new territory. Her district now stretches into East Baton Rouge Parish. Serving on the Appropriations Committee, Letlow wants to focus on curbing government spending and being mindful of how Congress uses taxpayer dollars. And the race to become Baton Rouge's next mayor is shaping up after qualifying this week. We'll tell you about the candidates next.